You're listening to the weekly Parsha Podcast with Ari Goldwag, recorded with Hashem's never-ending assistance in Ramat Beit Shemesh, Israel 5780, 2019. This week's Parsha is Parshas Chayei. I'd like to share with you a beautiful piece from the Sichos Musar of the Rosh Yeshiva of the Mir, Chaim Shmulevitz. He talks about the Midas HaHistaglus. We'll see what that means. He says like this: B'nisayon akedes Yitzchak matzinu hevdel bin Avram l'Sora. At the beginning of our parsha, we know that Sarah Imenu dies. Avraham Avinu purchases Meras HaMachpelah from Bnei Ches, from Ephron Hachiti. And so, how did Sarah Imenu die? Our sages tell us that what happened was she was informed by the Satan that Yitzchak was about to be shechted. It was about to be slaughtered. As a result, Parcha Nishmasa, we'll see. What is the difference between Avraham Avinu, asks Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, what is the difference between Avraham and Sarah? How come Avraham was able to withstand the Akedah, the Nisayon of placing his son on the altar, being ready to slaughter him? How come Sarah wasn't able to withstand it and she passed away? If anything, Sarah Imenu was the Midas HaGvura. She was the one who had the strength. Avraham Avinu was the Midas HaChesed. That's the important question. Let's see this inside. Avram was willing and ready to overcome his rachamim, his mercy upon his son. He was ready to slaughter his son. We find that Sarah was on a greater level of prophecy than Avram Avinu. Sarah Imenu, when she heard that it was happening, she died, even though she was on a higher level of prophecy. Avram came to eulogize and to cry for his wife Sarah. Rashi explains, why were these two parshas placed next to each other? Like we said, she found out from the Malach HaMavis, from the Satan, about what was going on. She died. The Targum Yonasan says the same thing. The Satan went and told Sarah Imenu that this had gone on, that Yitzchak was slaughtered. She died of intense pain. What's the difference between Avraham and Sarah? How come Sarah couldn't withstand this great pain? Okay, and so he says an amazing thing, and it's a powerful idea. We need to know that it's true, because we need to understand it, how it affects us in a negative way, and how we can use it in a positive way. When it came to this challenge, Hashem took Avraham Avinu and he slowly edged him into this challenge. Like Rashi explains the pasuk, it says, take your son, your beloved son, your only son, the one you love, Yitzchak. Your son, he said to him, I have two sons. The only one. This is, Avraham responded and said, this one is the only one of his mother, and this one's the only one of his mother. The one you love. He said, I love both. Why didn't he just say it straight up? Why did he give him a whole, why was there a whole conversation? So that he shouldn't be astounded and shocked and go mad. We see that if Hashem would have revealed to him from the onset that he wants him to slaughter Yitzchak, his son, he wouldn't have been able to withstand the challenge. He would have gone mad. Because it came to him suddenly. It's a davar tipin tipin. Therefore Hashem revealed to him the matter drop by drop. First he said, your son. He realized, okay, I'm going to have to take one of my sons. He didn't realize immediately which one. Slowly easing him into the concept. Through this pause, each of these pauses, so Avram was able to get used to the idea, obviously, an uncomfortable idea. He was able to overcome his love for Yitzchak. He was able to accept the command with equanimity without getting all confused and his mind churning, actually. He was able to withstand the challenge, and he was willing to bring his son as a sacrifice. Like Cain, Sarah Imenu. But that was not what happened with Sarah. And interestingly, it wasn't a chisaron on Sarah's part. Obviously, it was her time to go. We could, want to try to perhaps understand why HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed the Satan to introduce the concept to Sarah suddenly, right? But the point is that Sarah was at a disadvantage, that it was revealed to her suddenly, Dvar HaKravas Yitzchak, that Yitzchak was being slaughtered. Her heart couldn't withstand it. She passed away. Now, he brings us other examples of this. We find this kind of idea in a story in the Gemara Ksuvas on Daf Samach Beis Mabeis. He went into exile to study with Rav for 12 years. When he returned to his house, he had not informed his wife that he was returning. It had been 12 years. His wife was in the middle of her work. When she picked up her eyes and she saw him, her heart stopped. She passed away. What does it mean that her heart? Actually, the literal translation is her heart saw. Her heart suddenly recognized that this was her husband. She had a hergish, she had an emotional feeling. This was her husband before her mind processed it. Because if she would have intellectually known about it before, that distance between the eye and the heart, the intellect and the heart, so that small amount of difference, that small amount of warning, would have given her an opportunity to become accustomed to the fact that her husband had returned. She was waiting for 12 years. But now that she saw with her heart, so to speak, her emotions experienced his return first, before her eyes, before her intellect. The eyes always represent the intellect. So her heart wasn't able to withstand it. She wasn't pre-warned. He gives another example. We find that this is true in regard to Chushim ben Dan. Chushim ben Dan was deaf. The Gemara in Saita says a story on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. When Yaakov Avinu was brought by his sons to be buried in Maras Machpelah, the Asa Esav became Akiv. Esav came and he said, "You can't take that spot. It's my spot." Yaakov already used his spot for Leah. So they responded and said that no, Yaakov had already purchased that place from him. Because Esav Shtar Mechir says, where's the document that says that you bought it? They said it was left in Egypt. So Naphtali, who is very quick, he's going to return to Egypt and bring back the shtar. Gemara Sham, what happened in the meantime? Chushim Brei de Dan Tamon Hava. Chushim, the son of Dan, was there. Yakir Leudne, he was deaf. Arlo Mai said, what's going on? Amrle Kama Akiv Hai Ada Asin Naphtali Mar Mitzrayim. Esav is stopping the funeral procession from continuing until Naphtali comes back from Egypt. In the meantime, my grandfather Yaakov is going to be left in disgrace. He took a staff and he banged him on the head. He killed Esav. His eyes popped out. And the eyes of Esav popped out of his face and they fell onto the legs of Yaakov Avinu. Ayin Sham. Very interesting Gemara. You have to understand what the whole idea means. But he brings it to teach us this idea. Reb Chaim says, we need to understand, how come Chushim ben Dan was concerned about the honor and the disgrace of his grandfather more than anybody else over there. What about Yaakov's sons? They weren't concerned. Why didn't they have the same sense that it was a disgrace for Yaakov to be left in that way until Naphtali would return? How come only Chush and Ben had that sensitivity? We need to understand why the Torah stresses that he was deaf. Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz an amazing thing. He says that the idea is all of the other children of Yaakov and their grandchildren of Yaakov, when they heard the complaint of Esav, and they heard what he was saying, that this is my spot, they started to have a back and forth with him. They responded to all of the things that he says. They got used to the idea. Through this back and forth, through the conversation, they became accustomed to it. But Chushim and Dan was deaf, so he didn't know what was going on. He didn't have that back and forth. He didn't hear what they were saying. He didn't hear the goings on. Since he saw that Yaakov Avinu was standing there in disgrace, so therefore that fire of the unwillingness to allow this disgrace to continue burned inside of him, and therefore he went and he killed Esav. So it's very interesting. So there's a possibility for us to use this in a positive way, to get used to something which is difficult, a difficult situation. It's also possible that we could get used to something which is improper. We become accustomed to it through this very concept. And he brings down, I'm not going to read it inside, but he speaks about the fact that not long before this Sefer was written, which was in the 70s, early 70s when he was speaking, so the Jewish people had gone through the horrors of the Holocaust, and he says there were many people. How are they able to survive? The survivors, how are they able to get to the end of that dark, dark tunnel? How could they, the death that surrounded them, the difficulty, the way that the Nazis treated the Jews, the Germans treated the Jews was just horrendous. It was unbelievable. No normal person could endure such a thing. How are people able to get to the other side? And he says that part of the way that they were able to survive was because the fact that they slowly got used to it. It's slowly, not that it became okay. It was never okay. It was always unfathomable, but it was something that it's possible. It's possible for human beings to get used to situations which are just beyond the normal. Okay? So he says like this, and he brings it home for us. So this idea of becoming accustomed to something, so sometimes it weakens us. It weakens our inspiration. Sometimes a person is inspired and he wants to do amazing things. It's burning inside him to do what's right. But as the time passes, so it slowly gets diminished. A person has an obligation to make sure that the fire of inspiration doesn't get weakened. And he needs to make sure that it continues to burn as it did in the beginning. If a person pays attention to it, and a person continues to stoke the fire that's inside of him to make sure that he continues to be inspired, to remain inspired, so then he's going to rise in Musar and fear of Hashem. Right? I have to mention, I just heard in a shir that my Rosh Hashiva gave yesterday, he's talking about the fact that it's an amazing thing. You open up a Yated Naiman, you open up a Jewish newspaper, and you see how many books there are. Beautiful books, inspiring books, touched by a prayer, how to maintain, praying with fire, maintaining that inspiration. And how many shiurim there are on Torah anytime you want, you can go on there, you can listen to it. You don't even have to listen to it as slowly as I'm speaking. You can press times 1.5 and make it go much faster, so you can get in even more words of Torah. It's an amazing thing. You can listen to it on the way to work. You can listen to it anytime you need to. Inspiration. Jews are looking for inspiration. We want to maintain the inspiration. And I must put in a plug for the Bitachon group, which Baruch Hashem, the women's group has been, consistently meeting, Baruch Hashem, and we have the men's group starting up again, Baruch Hashem, a tremendous amount of interest. And it's so important to be mechazik ourselves, to inspire ourselves. I saw right now in my community, in Ramat Beit Shemesh, a group is starting to learn Musar. It's called Beis HaMusar Rav Yosef Yozel, named after the Alter of Navardik. Amazing thing, beautiful thing. We need to inspire ourselves. We need to maintain our inspiration. We need to not allow things to become accustomed. We can't become accustomed to those things, just letting it slide. Okay, let's see some more of what he says. When you come into the The Yavi says an amazing thing. We find Chazal tell us, it's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, that when you come into the Beis HaMikdash, when you come into the temple, you would go in one entrance and you go out a different entrance. You wouldn't come in the same way. If you came in from the north, you go out of the south. If you came in from the south, you go out the north. What's the idea behind it? He says, person shouldn't become accustomed to the way that a person comes into his house. There's only one entrance, generally speaking, in a person's house. You come into that entrance, you come in and you go out. You become used to it. When it comes to the Beis HaMikdash, when it comes to that which represents spirituality, you can't get used to it. It can't become something which is mitzvahs hanashim melumada, something that we just become accustomed to and we do without thinking. It's so easy for that to happen. This is a warning. Don't become accustomed to it. Do something new. Do something fresh. Find a new inspiration, a new thing to think about, a new way of inspiring ourselves during our Shemona Esrei, during our davening, a new Gemara to learn, a new shir that's interesting, a new idea, a new way of expressing that idea. Okay? V'zeha hu inyan cher ha'egel, shaya ha'oil b'toichem at shemasu bo, v'amu asei lan Elohim, Moshe Rabbeinu hirgish b'zeh, v'nata ha'oil b'chutz ha'machane herchek min ha'machane. The Jewish people, they became accustomed to coming to the Oil Moed, coming to the Beis HaMikdash. In that time it was the tabernacle. And so Moshe Rabbeinu said, we need to take the Mishkan and put it outside of the Machane. It can't be something that's so easy to get to. It can't be so easy to just roll out of bed and into the shul. It's got to be something that it's a little bit hard, it's a little bit far, it's a little bit requires, you can't be used to it. Ayin Sham. There has to be a certain fear, a certain shaking when you come into the Beis HaMikdash, when you come into the shul. We can't allow ourselves to become accustomed to it. I can't bring my device. I have to say this because it bothers me a lot. I can't bring my device into the Beis Medrash. I can't bring my phone with my SMS and into the shul where I'm davening and pull it out during davening. I can't do that. Why? Because then this place is no different than my house. I'm not saying it I'm saying from a very simple perspective. This needs to be a place where I realize that I leave my phone outside. I can't bring my phone into the Beis Medrash, even a kosher phone. I don't need my phone ringing in the middle of Shemona Esrei. I need to leave it outside. I personally don't put my phone in my pocket. I don't bring it with me to the Beis Medrash. I don't bring it with me to shul. My phone stays in my office. Yes, it's a little bit hard to get a hold of me, but at what cost? Is it easy for everyone to get a hold of us? Why do we always need to be gotten a hold of? We need to have time to ourselves. We need to have time for our relationship with Hashem. This is exclusive. This is a place where it's only about a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. In order that we not become accustomed to it, we need to have that charada when we come into the Beis HaMikdash. You can't come in and out the same. You can't go in and out the same entranceway. He brings another example, but I want to just read the ending. We, the people who value Jewish spirituality, we who are the Bnei Torah, those who study the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's incumbent upon us. We have to be careful when it comes to Bittul Torah. I'm sitting and learning. At the beginning of the Zman, at the beginning of the time of learning, so sometimes we're very inspired. Often we're very inspired. We're very focused. We're very into it, right? We're careful not to waste our time. But the yetzer comes onto our doorstep and he gets us used to it. Oh, it's okay, you're used to it, you're not as excited now. They're becoming accustomed to something when it comes to spiritual matters is a great danger. It stunts our sensitivities. Even when it comes to a very grievous sin like Bittul Torah, wasting time from learning. Has the ability to destroy everything. So a person can become accustomed to a very poor state, a terrible state. He says, what is the yetzer? How can a person overcome the hara that causes us to become accustomed to doing things that are wrong? It's limud hamusar. It's by learning inspirational things that wake us up and remind us of the way that we really want to be, and help us recognize that we may not be on exactly the path that we'd like to be. Let's get back on the path, constantly drawing us back on. Don't become used to the things, the negative habits that we've started doing. It's that sword. We stick it in and we say, oh, whoever steps away from what's right needs to be thrust through with the sword. He brings that example because that was involved in the previous thing that he spoke about with Palti ben Layash. I'm not going to get into that. So this reminds a person about the inspiration that he had. When a person is originally inspired, I need to make some kind of commitment or some kind of symbol for myself that reminds me, this is what I want. This is what I really want. To feel disgusted by wasting our time, disgusted by wasting our opportunities to have spirituality, to learn Torah. The sweetness that we had at the beginning, we need to hold on to that. Through whatever it is that we use, that commitment that we have, or the symbol that we have of our commitment, it reminds a person to remind ourselves that this is something that we need to stay completely far away from. It's something that we recognize should be thrust through with a sword if we do something which is not based on our highest ideal. Okay, finishing off here. So this is the difference between Avraham and Sarah. Person shouldn't bring themselves into a challenge. Okay, so we see Avraham Avinu, he was slowly accustomed to the idea of having to slaughter his son, so that was used in a positive way. Sarah Imenu didn't have that opportunity. Now, a person has to be careful not to bring themselves into a nisayon. We explained in another place that when Hashem brings a challenge to a person, Hashem gives a person the power, the ability to withstand that challenge. Person should not bring himself into a challenge. Interesting, this is a completely different point, but it's also an important point. And that is that there's a nisayon, there's a challenge, that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings us into the challenge, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the power to overcome the challenge. But if we choose the challenge, like David HaMelech did with Bathsheba, so we run an extreme danger of falling into the challenge. Because David asked for the nisayon, it wasn't brought upon him by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So, meaning HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't volunteer the nisayon. When Hashem brings the nisayon on a person, so then it comes along with divine assistance. But when we enter into nisayon ourselves, so then it doesn't come with that. The Akedah was this challenge Hashem gave to Avraham. So he also had the opportunity, the ability to withstand it. It wasn't her challenge, so she didn't have the ability to withstand it. So she didn't have the ability to withstand it because it wasn't her nisayon. It's very interesting. Okay, it requires a lot of thought. Bottom line is, what we see from here is that there's an ability that we have inside of ourselves to become murgal, to become accustomed. We need to make sure to use it correctly in the right places. If it means becoming accustomed to something that's difficult in our lives, whether it's a challenge that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has sent us, whatever it might be, some difficulty in our life, or whether it's the challenge of learning Gemara, the challenge of everyday things that we do in our service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, becoming accustomed to that. So that's using it in a positive way. Not allowing ourselves to become accustomed when it comes to the inspiration, to lose that inspiration. We have to watch out for that as well. We can overcome that by learning Musar and by continuing to be inspired and to search for inspiration. I want to bless you, ask you to bless me. Hashem should help us to use the tools at our disposal to be able to indeed continuously remain inspired in our service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos. This podcast was made possible through the gracious donations of listeners like you. For more podcasts like this, please visit www.arigoldwag.com or search on iTunes Ari Goldwag.